Everyone, welcome back. In this video we'll be looking into vulnerable and outdated components. Let's go ahead and look into that. So as you can see, in 2017 it was in the 9th position, which is using components with known vulnerabilities, but it has been changed to 6th position, which is vulnerable and outdated components. So there are various parameters through which it has been reached to 6th position. So if you go ahead and see, so these are some of the parameters through which it has been secured the 6th position. So the application might be vulnerable if the application is, if we don't know the versions that we are using in our application. That includes the components that we directly use or the nested dependencies, as well as if the software is vulnerable, unsupported, or out of date. So these are some of the reasons why the application can be vulnerable. Let's see how can we prevent it. So one of the reasons is by removing unused dependencies, which is actually not necessary, and other one is continuously monitoring the inventory of both client side as well as server side components. So let's look into a few scenarios. So let's say I'm developing an application here. So let's say we have one web app. So basically, to develop web app, we have to have front end as well as back end, right? To store the data, we have to have the back end. For visualization, we have to have the front end. So let's say I'm developing a login page here. Okay, so I'm developing a login page. So this is username, this is password, and this is the login section. So let's say I want to use some animations here, but I was not able to do it, so I'm using some third-party dependencies. So to implement this, I'm using some third-party dependencies. So let's say if these dependencies or this particular version has been vulnerable to some XYZ attack. So when these are vulnerable, obviously our application will be also vulnerable. So we have to make sure that whenever we are using these dependencies, we have to make sure that we use from authentic website instead of using some unknown websites. So we have to be careful for that. And sometimes, let's say I'm using some version 1.1, right? So for this, let's say they have updated to version 1.2 or some 1.3, but still I'm using version 1.1. So let's say there is a vulnerable where I can use a remote code execution, right? So I'll be having all the code in the website. So there are a few websites called exploitdb, which we'll be talking in the next video. So using there, we can get the codes. So we can get some Python codes, and simply I can implement in these login pages or some other web pages. So implementing that, I can simply use those codes and get into those web apps and get the information. So we have to make sure that we are updated and we are using secure versions. So that's it for now. I hope you guys have understood the concept of today's video, and I'll be adding more information in the next video. We'll be also doing the lab, so stay tuned and happy learning. If you have liked the video, please click the like button below, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel and please share the video. Thanks everyone.